everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. I'm here with the boys. Today we're talking about the Tomorrow War. Of course, starring Chris Pratt, from Jurassic World as well as Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, this movie basically deals with what is it? Aliens invading Earth. And they have a special twist on it whereby the humans are getting defeated by the aliens and they have to go back in time and bring people like Chris back to the future to help fight the war. It's a brutal war. People are only there about 7 days and they go back. So it's the end of the world. Humanity's down to 500,000 people in this desperate battle for the war. So hey, I'm gonna put it to the boys. Hey, how did you guys like this movie? What did you guys think about it? Cal, what's your thoughts?
Wait a second, are we? You're not going to give any overview of the movie?
I just did.
Okay, there we go. That's all right. Let's go. All right, Cal, it's on you.
Well, about half an hour in, I checked the time to see how long the movie was going to be because I was enjoying myself and I wanted to enjoy it a little bit. I wanted to hope that it wasn't going to be over soon. I watch movies like this and I'm like, okay, this is your standard July 4th Hollywood thing. And it was it was entertaining. It was good. I always wonder, like, why is it so hard for these guys to make a movie at the end of the day? It's formulaic. It's all get out. It has all the stuff that you would normally see in the movie. It's not over the top. It's not over the top. It's not original by any means, but it's serviceable and entertaining at the end of the day, from start to finish. So, we've already seen the whole thing with aliens. We've seen this. This is like what Independence Day meets. This is like Independence meets Edge of Tomorrow. So you got that sort of thing going on. But everybody does their roles. You got all the human component that you could need. You got like a competent, if not thoroughly terrifying alien species. They even snuck in some stuff about the greenhouse effect. That's why we gotta reduce global warming. You got all that stuff going in there. I mean, hey, the only thing I could think of would have made it better if you threw in Julia Fox. It's a good movie.
Hey, what about you? What's your take on it, PD?
For me, it started off okay. Like it started off okay with the setup and sort of him and his regular life, things not going well, decent family stuff. I even liked the draft, and then of course the initial time jump, like the whole premise when it starts. I was like, oh, I was definitely into it. The immediate drop when they drop them and things go wrong, and like almost like their whole amount of people get pounced on, and then once they're going to try to save the people in this lab, that's when the movie got left. When they introduced the aliens, and the aliens are cool and funky and fast, but they're not that fast. Somehow they allow the people to get away. It just starts getting into the action movie type thing. So they have this like really fast alien, but at the same time they can't catch anything. People are going, but they're still like everyone should have been dead. We see the first shot and they didn't have to do it. They see the first shot of what the aliens can do to these guys, and they wipe out an entire group of like four in like a second. So I was just like, oh, they've already established that there's no way to get away from these, and they're also shooting projectiles. It's not just that they got these fast in their fangs and they got the shield. They already showing you they turned their shield on their back, and I get it with the other black guy with cancer is kind of like doesn't tell these people. He just thinks of everyone as fodder, so he kind of just moves along and does his thing. So I get it. That's kind of the way kind of army works. So let the newbies sort of go in head first and get their heads chopped off. But then after that, yeah, look, going past that, I'm into it. The next thing you know, Chris Pratt character has to save people that we know aren't going to make it out. Oh, such and such fell. We got to get out of here. They're going to drop the bomb. No, we have to save this person. No, we have to save this person. He talking to the colonel. He's like, we're all dead. It's all dead. Like, no, no, I'm coming back for you. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like he's just a little too altruistic for me in this thing where he just kind of go hell bent on saving everyone. Is like, no, we have to try. It's like try at the same time you're about to drop some bombs on it. Like at least give us some time. This idea of jumping with the explosion behind you really was getting on my nerves because it happens a few times in this movie. So then, they're down to like three. Three guys made it out. Of course, you can't fault them for the leads, the funny guy and the guy, the dark sort of character with cancer is kind of like they're the ones who survive. That's
Right.
fine. They meet the colonel and whatnot. That's cool. And she's kind of tough, but her performance is kind of getting happy and being heavy at the same time. So then when you get to that middle part, it's kind of really what the movie becomes is more like Starship Troopers with a mix of like like Man of Steel later on in the movie. So I kind of got really bothered at this stuff because it's really like Chris Pratt's movie. So he comes in to help save things. It's like these monsters that you can't really stop, but they're able to sort of survive this when it feels like everybody should have died, where they really weren't making sense of what was going on. It's just little things they could have done to do this, where Chris Pratt has to put his head first and everything because he's the star of this story. And then when he has to get out. Even when he's trying to get out, he's like, "Nope, I'm gonna try to save someone on this rig at the same time where I need to go back." And it's like he's putting everything in jeopardy to do this thing. And it's just like, what is he going to do after this movie's over? We need to go back and save my other daughter from the future. And they added a little other plot where he kind of did the same thing his father did, which I felt was totally unnecessary and totally since he kind of had that experience with his father. The I mean, there's the '80s sort of psychology that you repeat the same things, but that's like the armchair TV psychology. In real life, unless you want to do that, you have a terrible reaction to something. And the logical thing is to react against it, to not leave the family, even in divorce. Because, I mean, ultimately, I mean, I've experienced, not myself, but I've experienced with my own family. So it's just like kind of that thing of the '80s psychology didn't work for me, but it's just giving some backstory. So there's some tension between him and the colonel, that sort of thing. But then I'm like saying, all right, they got this a good part on this. I'm okay with them joining some sort of team, but they wanted to do the whole bureaucracy, keeping them out of it. And then they take an excursion out to Russia, and it turns into GI Joe. Like they just got weather outfits and they got these, these jet skis and whatnot. It's like this is what happened when they're fighting Destro and the Weather Dominator. Oh, well, we're able to do an exposition going out to Russia in the deep frozen area. I'm like, no, this is going too far. And then they had okay, suspend disbelief all to that point. They had things that they could do to get us through these scenes, but they didn't have to put the people we need to stay alive at the end, like his father, himself. They kept putting them in situations where someone would jump to the screen so you get a nice shot. And then I was like, I was saying to my wife, "Oh, they're gonna have a physical fight, him and the monster at the end, where you're gonna kick the monster." And I'm like, "No, he kicked the monster. Like he literally kicked this vicious, terrible monster." So we get a nice Chris Pratt shot on the thing. So it's one of those things that started off really decent, and then it kind of just turned into like a not the hero's journey, but the hero's snapshot. Every cool picture you can get of Chris Pratt on screen doing his thing, like coming down, swinging from the thing. Got the monster in the headlock. Hey guys,
You definitely have some decent criticisms there.
huh?
I can see some of the criticisms that you have. They make a lot of sense. But overall, I think the picture was generally okay. I mean, pretty good. I mean, definitely follows in the tradition of Roland Emmerich from Independence Day going forward. You know, we've had these type of um, big blockbuster, world dividing, world catastrophic movies from the 2012, 2012 when the world was going to be taken over.
You know that's not a
I'm,
good example, right? 2012, the
why?
dumb scenes in that movie. You know that's not you're not helping the movie out.
So
By
I'm just trying to give an example of some of these big movies where the Earth is in trouble. And I thought it was generally a pretty good movie overall. I didn't think, yes, there are issues naturally, and I think they can definitely. There's some issues that have gigantic buses that you can run through because the holes are that big. But at the same time, was it enjoyable? these type of Fourth of July movies try to bring people together and say, hey, we as humanity, we have to come and work together no matter what. And that's the whole purpose of the film. I mean, of course, entertaining naturally. And Chris Pratt, definitely shows his chops, being leading man himself and the executive producer of the show, of getting this movie going forward.
He
I thought,
executive produced this?
yeah, he did.
Yeah, that
Oh wow.
explains
Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, you're on notice.
that explains a lot. I think the only thing I would pull back most of it on my criticism if he hadn't sort of had those scenes as a person who'd already been a vet, and even if you don't want people to die, you sort of understand that for a mission that and they're about to drop bombs is to like we have to get out of here beforehand, and these monsters are too fast. We have to, and it's sort of like it's taking charge to keep the people alive that he could.
Come on, man. They do how many series? I mean, this is like I was telling somebody that this is like a football minute. It's going to take like half an hour before those bombs ever come down. I mean, come on, we all know
The
that
planes are there. They're already doing it. They're
it's still
already
going to take time.
screwed up time in movies. They don't care
fourth
about time.
quarter. This is the fourth quarter. There's 1 minute left, and you're going to watch 15 minutes with the commercials and all together. So
But they don't pick up the linebacker that fell over and say, "Let's help us go to the line."
it's going to take forever. So
The
yes,
people on the line go and they fall out,
when
and
we
then the
watch
other person
the
runs
show
and
starts off with
wins.
they start they when they start, and I look, some of the elements I definitely liked about it was that whole when they went to the future, how they are like like I guess teleported electronically or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever, and they going through, and then how half of them didn't make it through, but a
it
bunch
was
of them made it.
cool.
But it's like you got hundreds of people there, and when you think about hundreds of people in that particular group jumped at the same time, and only three survived, and you're complaining about that? Come on, man.
I didn't complain about that. I said I was in there with
But
it.
I'm saying, you're saying, he went back. The whole point is that he's supposed to come back. At this stage, he's supposed to be us.
Wait a second. You're saying that I didn't say I had an issue. I said I was in the movie. I'm saying it's a cool scene of the fact that they
They go back and get somebody. You're saying they're going back and get
no,
somebody.
they go back. I know I didn't have any issue. I said I
Oh,
like that. I
You like
said
the fact that he
what?
went to go back and got that person when the guy fell through the gate
yeah,
and broke his leg?
you were saying.
No, the fact that they went through and then they got dropped in a place, everything went wrong
No,
on
not that
the
portion.
drop.
I'm saying about the portion where you were saying that the people, they got things to do. The plane's about to drop, and he went to go get somebody else. I'm saying, come on, we
You
have.
go to the teleporting. That's what you
I
said
was just bringing
first.
that. I was bringing that up. That they started off with a whole bunch of people, right? And they ended up with three people. The whole point is that he's supposed to give us hope. He's that guy who's us, who's like, oh, there's something wrong. We know things. We're trying to work things out, and we got to help these people because we are good overall. We're not Dorian, the mercenary who's been there before. What 3 tours he's dying of cancer? So he's like, let those suckers die and move on. We are good at that time. Even his daughter, who, and we're giving spoilers, his daughter, who's the colonel, is pretty jaded at the time. When you've lost what? There's only 500,000 people. That means you've lost. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You've lost 99.999% of the population. But he's coming representing the possibilities, the goodness in us as people.
Everybody died except for the guy who hid
But
and the
he
black
represented the
brother.
hope. He represented the hope in the fact that he got the vial back, right? And that was the whole thing at the very end. They couldn't stop it, but they were able to get something to defeat this creature. If you want to complain about something, I'll tell you why are these aliens always like monsters that come in. They're mindless. Well, not these. These guys are pretty organized, but why are these just these crazy monsters? Why don't the aliens come in to be fully clothed? Number one, I mean, you figure if you're going from one part of the universe to the next part, they'll at least wear clothes or handle the elements. These aliens never seem to be able to do it.
Well,
Seem to,
they were like the aliens, but if you already had them controlled as a planet, they said there was a planet cleaning device that they were
no,
basically
clearly,
cleaning the
that's what
planet.
they're there for.
Yeah, they didn't. The stuff they were the aliens they were fighting against weren't the aliens. For all we know, these guys they said they don't know if they were coming to attack the planet. They crash landed, whatever it may be. So we weren't dealing with the aliens per se. We were just dealing with like their weapon of mass destruction, if you will, at the end of the day. But that's which was a little bit different than what usually has. They had, but I mean, they borrowed from so many of these other films. Even that film, right, where they're going over there, they got the aliens in the sacks and everything. I was like, where have I seen this before? Oh yeah, Alien. Yeah, I see that right over there. But aside of that, look, I just was like, look, this is a popcorn chewer. I chewed my popcorn. I was happy at the end of the day. It had a theme. They stuck with their theme throughout the film. I was happy at the end of the day. They had what you had all what you had the everyman in there. That's the guy who hid. I didn't even think they would do that much. And then they had the same guy come. I'm gonna kill an alien with a chainsaw. I was like, yeah, I don't got to take this too seriously. This is fun. I'm just gonna sit back over here, relax, and enjoy it as it unfolds.
And of course, they stole that from what Zack Snyder when we just saw Army of Darkness. I think it was we just saw.
Didn't he steal it from Ash?
Oh, oh, yeah.
When he used the chainsaw, "Rah, I'm cutting these zombies down. But there were
Oh, but
elements. That were,
as Cal said, that's already taken from some other movie.
of
So they
course,
probably got it. They're probably making it at the same time. So
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same side with you for once, Mars. Don't bring in Zack Snyder and make me have to come over here and
I'm
get
gonna
on
bring
your bad
something
side.
even bigger that you guys may not like. I made a mistake when I said I think he's the producer of the film, but Goyer was also a producer. David Goyer.
Well, there we go. I'm out.
Seems to pop up everywhere. Goyer has a long life no matter what. He's
No, they had a very simple theme that starts off, and it starts off, it's an everyman theme, if you will. But this guy's unhappy with his life.
Yeah.
He's unhappy with his life. He's like, no, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And it's like, look, no, there is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with living a simple, average life at the end of the day. And he finds that out when he gets to the future and says, no, you left. Why did you leave? He didn't leave because he was dying. He didn't leave. He left because he was unhappy. Okay, he leaves because he's unhappy, and then he gets shown. Okay, now we get what's this? We get what is it? I'm thinking this other movie now with the Jimmy Smith movie. They threw so many damn thing in there. What is the name of this movie again? The Wonderful Life. He gets thrown in there like, look, now you lost all that time. You lost all this time. Your daughter has a horrible memory. You're just like your father. You don't even know how the whole this thing happened. But then they tie everything up that goes over there. Even with the guy who hit, where he survives at the he survives at the end. He survived. Seychelle Gabriel dies, but he survives. I'm not too sure about how much I like that.
you talking
But
Charlie, the PhD, right? Charlie, the PhD.
the heavyset dude, the guy,
Charlie, what's his name? Charlie.
yeah, the
Sandwich.
guy who wasn't that scene I mean, a lot of it just to take it that serious. I was like, okay, a lot of this is for laugh. He's coming down the stairs and he's firing that gun, and the alien's coming down. What does he say? He shoots the alien. He's like, oh and then, he tries a little bit more fire. He realizes it's really not working. He's like, oh, and he's like tiptoeing down the stairs. And somehow this guy makes it. So I was like, okay, anybody who's got the right contract is going to make it to the end. And that guy who tried to close the door on the alien, like, sorry, you didn't have a contract. So the aliens are going to eat you. Mm-hmm. What? And you have the same dude. I think you don't know the name of the actor, but he was supposed to be terrified with the tooth around his neck. And even that type. I like when they do stories and it's almost like the Hitchcock. If you show a gun in the film, you got to use that gun. So they have the tooth around this guy's neck, and it's not just for show. It's actually something they're going to use later on in the film, and it actually works functionally. So you do have a functional story throughout this entire thing. With all the other slapstick, high wire stuff that was going on. But even that guy's like, hey, we're part of the not team. We don't want to be eaten. And what happens? He comes back to save this dude. He comes back to save the dude. It's like, oh, the neck. And it's the neck and the belly. Those are the lethal points and everything. I was like, didn't he just undercut his whole argument? Why is he coming back to save him? So, a whole bunch of stuff just thrown out. But I just looked at it and said, look, it was 2 hours of time that for me wasn't wasted. Good. I wish they could make more. Well, the point is, at least for that film, that was just supposed to be 2 hours of entertainment, not to be taken too seriously.
Right, and I agree with you. I think
that more often. Like, we want to do a 2-hour film. We want to do something a little bit more heady. Okay, do a heady film. We want to do a 2-hour film, make it a little bit more of a flight of fancy, not to take it too seriously. Okay, do that. If that was the point of what they were doing, they executed, they nailed it.
Didn't take one thing. I think they didn't. Not about taking themselves. They did take themselves seriously, or him, or Chris Pratt took his character seriously. Whereas, like, all right, even in the detriment to the team, I'm going to save somebody, and it's like I'm going to save one person. We all die at the same time, but it's like the monsters are right behind us. And then the thing of the father, him leaving his wife and the daughter being upset with that, but him leaving the daughter too beforehand for how many years? Like, come on. Like, that's asking a little too much for me to
I think they set up some of the scenes in the beginning of the movie where they're like he was trying to get like some type of new scientific job. She didn't want to no longer be a
To
science teacher.
lead the daughter, like the way he was
I
loved
don't
by
know.
his
We
father.
don't know what happened. Probably it happened.
He's not letting the father, his father, back into his daughter's life at that point. And now something, because his job didn't work out.
We
You
don't know. We're just
explained to me
speculating.
that he
We're
left his
speculating.
daughter.
I
Speculating.
thought that was I thought
I
that
can
was
see it.
fair.
Disappointing. He had
I
disappointment.
thought that was I thought that was more
But
than fair. We've seen
I don't
that's
see a problem
80s
with that.
psychology. It's like the
I
weakest
think
thing
this is
of backstory.
I
Where
would
it's like,
definitely push back on the 80s psychology. I've seen
yeah.
enough stuff, real time, real life, where you get people who literally mimic the same type of poor choices, and
if you enjoy it,
whoever was that big figure right over there. So I didn't
Right.
think it was too far of a stretch from the
I
truth.
don't think so
One.
too.
And then
if
two,
you
we don't
agree, if you want to do
see
that though,
we just get to hear the daughter. We just get to hear the daughter's take on it. Okay.
Exactly. We don't know what really happened on his end.
yeah, but I hear what you're saying. You can do the vicious cycle thing, right? We can do the what Hollywood loves to do, the vicious cycle, but at the same time, you have a character who has this simple thing, and you're saying, I can understand this thing as a family man, this, that, and the other, breaking up the marriage. He wanted to do more for this, that, and the other, and he decides, okay, for that reason, the daughter who believes in him, he's gonna hurt her the same way his father hurt him. Like that,
Yes.
they're asking him too much for me. Because if you do that, that means you're already this whole setup of what he has as a person of caring for life.
Mhm.
All this stuff is all BS. Because if you take one thing
But
away
that's
from
in
him,
the
he's
future. We
gonna
don't know
fall
what
apart.
happened to make him change. That
That's
stuff is in
correct.
the future. We don't know what happened
We're
to him.
shown that he's not that guy
He's
because
not
we're
that
shown
guy at
that
that moment.
future.
So yeah. You,
We
you,
get to see
It's
him in
the
the future.
classic.
Maybe he's
It's
hearing it and he's like, I can't believe I would have done this. I would
right.
never leave. I
Exactly.
would not do this, so on and so forth. If he was that guy, you can see the actions that he has. We
I'm
only
saying
get that. We only get what the daughter is sharing with us at that point. We don't see what happens to him or what leads him to do that. So we don't know what he was necessarily going through. But it goes through with the theme that he set up in the original film. This is a
but we
guy
have
who's
what was
he
set up.
feels. I want to. What does he say he wants to do? My life is supposed to mean something. It's supposed to mean something big. And at the end of the day, all the big stuff that he did didn't mean anything. Why? His daughter's telling him, look, you walked away because you were miserable with your life. You were miserable being with us because you couldn't achieve those particular things. Then he
Okay.
goes through the film, and what's he trying to achieve? He's just trying to stay with his
Okay. So we have the argument of him failing at the job thing and not becoming bigger and bigger than what he sees. And he has the example of his father. So
family.
your idea is for the two of you guys is that the job situation made everything fall apart.
No, we're saying
And
that's
I'm saying that he has his father at the same time. So we have dueling arguments. I'm
we're
saying
saying
that he has the example of his father that and the thing that he's holding firm on, throwing away the thing to say, I'm not allowing this person to connect with the daughter. I'm not saying anything about the marriage and that not tearing apart a marriage and breaking this thing up. But then the thing of that he's not connecting with the daughter and the daughter having to keep connecting with him even though he's pushing away. That's the thing I'm saying. They have another thread that's going through this movie that can conflict with what you guys are saying, where you can say, yes, you have the Hollywood vicious cycle, or you had the father as the example of who did wrong, and he's still experiencing it. He didn't, even when his wife is telling him not to go to him, get free, and we'll go on the run. Like, get out of this. We're going to break we're going to go AWOL or whatever it can be called. We're going to defy the draft. He's like, no, I'm not, because of this heart hurt he had. So we have dueling sort of things. And I'm saying that his experience, what they showed me on screen with the father, was a lot heavier than him and his job thing, which he was upset about, but he was still keeping, and his daughter was still giving him the light at the end of the day that, hey, we're sitting here, the daughter believes in him, bang, he's still there. Father, that's a no-go. And I was saying that emotion was a lot stronger than his job thing. And saying we don't see it, but we only have to see what we saw on camera, and that's what I'm taking in.
Fair enough.
I'm saying, yeah, everybody interprets it a little differently, and I think that in that sense, we don't know all the steps that happen. That's what I keep saying. But hey, we talked belabored this particular point quite a bit. So hey, let's talk about this in terms of how do you guys rate this as one of the big cataclysmic disaster movies over the years, such as Battle of Los Angeles, Independence Day, 2012,
Say that title again. Battle. What did you say? Battle what?
Los Angeles,
Los. Really? That's how you say it? Okay. All right.
or Battle LA. So I mean, what's your take on this? Um, 4th of July, Cal, you
No,
want
I
to
was just saying it's like a junior version of Starship Troopers, but the Starship Troopers did the thing where we had the people that become the end people were underlings. The brain guy became the brain guy, so he wasn't in combat up until they found the actual big monster. The female character and the guy who went to infantry, they were still underlings, so you could see them why they survived as much as they did. This sort of thing is kind of really like, well, Hollywood don't care. So like, Starship Troopers was very much as you would say, like very much a Hollywood movie, but it did have something, some sort of like straight sort of thread through it, where you could make sense of how these characters survive this sort of thing. And this one is like, well, Chris Pratt's the hero. And I like that, okay, we gave him his time limit, so it was like, all right, he's going to make it. But then he kind of broke suspension of disbelief for me because he just kept doing that one thing.
They were doing a lot of suspension of disbelief in Star Trek 2. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not.
So Cal, so what's your talk? What's
What
your
do you
take?
mean? What are you saying? You're saying you're allowing everything. You're saying that I can't say that. I'm
I'm
saying
not
that.
saying you can't. I said you said. The point I made is
Oh,
that
that's some bull. That's
when you look at the battles, there are battles where he
not
should.
talking about the. I'm saying yeah, the battles are the same. The battles are exactly the
So
same.
if you're saying that because he survives, that's a little too much. Where
No,
where Rico's running through.
him surviving is not the problem. Him stopping every 2 seconds to pick up a piece of
Rico
chewing
in the
gum.
film in Star Trek 2 actually try to pick
They
up.
stop all the time,
He
every 2 seconds.
didn't stop every 2 seconds. But he
How many
stopped.
people got maimed, killed while they were going there? There's enough cannon fodder in the movie where you say you're looking, and next thing you know,
Hey,
this
Pete,
person
we
is.
got it. You
You
really
wanted to
killing the,
chop. You
you're
wanted to
killing
try
the
to
points.
chop, right?
You're killing the points today.
You
Cal,
wanted to
what you
chop,
take
right?
out of the Independence Days
Stop saying those terrible movies. They're all terrible.
but these are the movies that come out for this. So the question is, does this match up?
In stupidity, yes.
Independence
In
Day made
stupidity,
$1 billion.
yes.
Independence Day made $1 billion. They just came out with something where they were talking about they didn't even want Will Smith. They didn't think he could carry the movie, And the director Roland Emmerich had to push and say, "Yeah, he's fighting aliens. Of course, the foreign markets are going to watch him." And what happened? It turned out, and that movie, of course, there are parts
That
of
was
it
one of the worst movies ever.
but people liked it. People enjoyed it. People went out to
It was
see it.
so bad.
They felt together. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh my gosh.
So again, Cal,
Everybody, we're giving you the code to destroy these ships. Come on. Yeah, you're right. I was wrong. You know what? I'm actually wrong. In comparison to Independence Day, 2012, all those type of movies is right on par. Right on par with all of them.
Thank you, Pete. Cal, can you interject if you can? You lost Cal.
He's going to get a sandwich. So
So the funny thing is, the director Chris McKay, he was actually the director of the Lego Batman movie and the Lego.
Oh yeah, oh man.
And he was the co-director of the Lego movie. So
I think he's trying to do Nightwing next.
Exactly, that's what I was going to get. So he's trying to do. They're trying to get that movie off the ground. So I mean, I think he did a decent job here with what he had.
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable film, so I cannot. I think he worked on Robot Chicken. I don't know what he was doing on that show.
Well,
most of those films are pretty much in the same vein, but I mean, the track record is pretty much the same. People enjoy them.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. They're in the same.
I'm not helping you there.
They're in the same plane as Independence Day.
No, I'm not gonna help you. You got a big enough trouble on your own. Not gonna help you with that one.
Huh?
The bottom line, they keep in the same vein of look. This is supposed to
help me with what?
At the end of the day, it's literally this is like entertainment fodder, but for whatever reason, it resonates. People keep returning to it. I mean, I was just watching this. I don't know how I fell on it the other day, but just turned on the set, and what was on that the total nonsense movie at the end of the day. The first one was if the first one
Sorry,
was
say the movie
bad,
again. You kind of got muffled.
listen,
Independence
no,
Day
the
2.
first if the first Independence Day was bad, the sequel, I don't even know what word you would I don't know what word means like 10 times as bad. So
Terrible, terrible.
that's how it would go. But I can put it on the background. I can tune in and out of it at the end of the day. And I was like, you know what? This is something watchable if I just want some diversion, something of a diversion. The first one is just a better diversion, along with all those other films. This film falls in lines with that. Okay. And sometimes it's just, you can just grade it on how good of a diversion it is. For some of us, excellent diversion. For others of us, not so much.
I agree.
Well,
And let's not forget that one of the top movies during the pandemic was, and this is not fighting aliens, but it was the end of the world scenario. Was Greenland with Gerard Butler.
didn't see it.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a pretty decent movie. A lot of people went out to watch the movie. Not watch the movie. I think it was, yeah, I think it came out at one point, and then it went to streaming. So Greenland, the film, it was a lot of people talked about it. Did pretty well. I mean, it didn't do huge in box office because it's a pandemic, but people talked about it in terms of the end of the world. They're trying to get out their town, and of course go to Greenland where there was a secret base again. As the world's getting hit by meteorites and stuff.
Well, when I was arguing it, and you compared it to 2012, I was saying that 2012 was terrible. Independence Day was terrible. And I was almost like, hey, you guys, well, Mars was going a little too far. Because all I'm saying is, I can stick with the movie if he doesn't do these little bits. And then when he got to the ice part, when he's in Russia, I'm just like, all right, these guys, I've kind of used up all of its kind of.
You weren't there for that part. You weren't there with me yelling "Yo, Joe."
But it's just like,
yo,
I'm
yo, I
saying.
was yelling farmers.
Unless you're doing War of the Worlds, unless you're doing War of the Worlds or something, which they continue keep going back to that movie too many times. Too many times at the end of the day.
That's the thing. I enjoyed that's the thing. I think this works better than Independence Day, than 2012. I'm just saying it's more, and it sounds like ultimately, as far as like the icing of those bits of Chris Pratt's character, having him kind of have these cool moments where it's just like this is a good, like the end with the goodbye with the daughter. I'm like saying he needs to embrace that him going back, doing her wishes, and like her, passing, like her just sliding off of the thing and going into the monsters, and him going back. But they went for maximum effect for, and it's
When he jumped out, he jumps over and he's trying to reach out to her.
yes, that really was.
Dante's Inferno.
I thought it was ridiculous and in character at the same time for what this guy had been doing. You could see the whole thing with going forward.
Dante's Inferno.
You got a built-in winner here because it's us versus the aliens. So at the end of the day, you still want us to win, right? Unless, I mean, I have yet to see the film that was so bad. We're like, man, I hope the aliens win. I can't stand
That's the thing. That's the thing. I would be there, like when it get to the end, and not even the father having to go over the cliff, like them sort of shoot the thing or put the thing in it. You see it explode, and then it's over, or the thing falls over the cliffs and explode. But they went for the extra. They're like, let's have him like duke it out, like he was Ali in there with the alien. I'm just like, yo, it's like you're doing so good. Like, and then next thing you know, that beginning when they fall out into the pool and then they go back and then we see that, it's just like, yo, this is some cool stuff. But it's just like, just a little bit. So sorry to go back to that again. But it's like, I think Independence Day, those ones, I couldn't, in the theater, I was really out of it. And I was just like, I did go in it for the explosions and seeing that sort of thing, but the characterization was kind of like out of it, where I liked the family, him and his family and the wife, even though the person who played the wife was really good in it. It's some one of those characters, those actors that they constantly kind of put in our face to say, please make this person a success. We've been trying, like we've been trying our best. But I think she was in that wrestling, the Glow movie too, Glow TV show. But anyway, I've gone on too long. So, Mars.
All right, hey. So I mean, overall, we like the movie, right? I'll take that as a yes. So hey, everybody.
I like the movie.
Al
You like the movie.
had to get a sandwich at that point. I just had some water. I was drinking some water. It's
No, that's okay.
okay.
I like the movie. Mars liked the movie. PD was more critical of the movie. I think that says it all, right? So you don't got to come out of here with your normal thing. We'll try to lump us all out, okay?
Hey, so you like what you saw? Thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Spin a rack.
Hout.